Welcome to BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. We're having a live debate today on the subject of the IT team of the future. The BCS has recently been undertaking a campaign on the next wave of IT, things like augmented reality, cognitive computing, 3D printing. And when we take those things in line with a lot of other burgeoning technologies, we can see that there's going to be a lot of impacts on the IT team. For example, the use of the cloud for various purposes, the mobile workforce, app-driven mobile devices that they use, offshoring, onshoring, reshoring, the list is quite long. This will cause a change in IT professionals in the way that they work and the skills that they require. So to discuss this today and what IT professionals and digital leaders need to know, we have an expert panel that I'd like to introduce to you now, starting with Keith Lucas from Foster Wheeler Energy. Welcome, Hello. Keith. We have Edward Walton from Templar Associates. Welcome, Edward. And we have Adam Thilthorpe, who's from BCS, our Director of Professionalism. So what we'd like to open up here with, gentlemen, is what are the general impacts of some of those things that I just mentioned there in the introduction on the IT department? Can we start with you, Keith?
I guess the biggest direct impact for us is the cloud and the diversity of services that are offered on the cloud that can help us. That undoubtedly is going to change the landscape of our internal IT department. I think it varies from company to company, though, enormously, dependent on the scale of the organisation. And as you can imagine, for a small organisation, the cloud is a very good way of getting high-quality skills and expertise without the need for a massive IT department. Whereas conversely, for a large organisation, actually, the organisation might wish to preserve some of its own internal skill sets and therefore use less of the cloud because it doesn't get the scale economies on it.
Okay. What's the implication for those working in the IT department that we're going to need a lot more in terms of analytics, business analytics, search engine optimization, all these sorts of things?
I think, if I may just jump straight in, I think it makes the landscape at once more complicated. Flip the coin, it makes it more simple. If the right tools are in place, be it business analytics tools, be it pure technology, again, coming back to the point on technology for technology's sake, it allows an organisation to be one step ahead of the customer feedback it might be soliciting through social media, ahead of changes in the technology environment that may mean an upgrade to all client PCs, or whatever it may be. The challenge is that it shouldn't be left alone. It's not the panacea. No form of analytics engine actually answers the question that comes back to the point Adam just made on Facebook. No amount of technology can answer the question, why should I have a Facebook page? So it comes back to the point we made right at the start of this afternoon, talking about, well, actually, who's actually paying attention to this from a skills point of view to answer the exam question, why are we doing this? What's the translation of the business requirement? Because you come back to the point you were making on loyalty cards. If an organisation wants to create a database of shoppers' buying habits, great, but so what? If there isn't some back-end process feeding out of or feeding from that data to say so-and-so needs some special promotion on white bread this month as opposed to brown bread, then if that's not there, then what's the point in having that analytics engine?
I think that's a really good point as well, because with big data, clearly the volumes are huge. So for us in the technology side, you're talking about bigger servers, bigger storage, bigger backups, bigger DR, bigger teams to support those. And if you come back to the initial question of, so what is the real win for the business? It could be tiny in some places, So you have to really work that through, I think, because otherwise you can incur a major cost without doing it properly.
So from the point of view of some of the legacy systems as well as the legacy skills, again, coming back to the point you raised earlier, if people are looking for career options or things to beef up their CV or for anything like that, taking some of the courses, freely available online, a lot of these things through the munificence of YouTube, and even the BCS gets involved in some of these courses to enable people to upskill themselves in some of these legacy applications, some of the legacy programming languages, all the way through to dealing with the nub of your question, legacy systems. I've worked with organisations which have acquired multiple companies over decades and left accounts wide open from the legacy acquisitions, and they've never been switched off. Back to the security argument, well, nobody actually thought, well, when we acquire this business, how do we turn that bit off and that bit on?
Coming from an engineering environment, I don't think legacy systems are about to disappear anytime soon. So there is a need for technology to truly develop the sandbox type concept. I mean, many companies have said they've actually achieved it and not really got there, but I do believe that there's a huge area for industry as a whole for a sandbox type technology that could allow the legacy systems to work without the millennium bug issues and the latest one, Windows 2003 server going offline next year, and those types of things which cause you to do, in industry's eyes, unnecessary work just to keep those systems running. Because they achieve nothing more the day after you've done the upgrade than they were before you did the upgrade, except it's now secure.
Yes.
So some technology within the industry, IT industry, that could actually allow that to happen at a lower overhead, I think would be very, very welcome. And in terms of, as you say, a skill set for people going forward, then interpreting that sandbox and then still being able to do the Fortran and the other languages that are out there as well would be immensely powerful, because most of those guys that did that are now in the what should we call it, sunset years of their career.
That's very tactful.
Yeah.
What other hypes do IT people need to be aware of, apart from BYOD and mobile? I don't want to put meaning on that, but it sounds to me like GPN01 is asking how an IT professional might avoid going into a cul-de-sac.
But I think that's a really interesting question, and I think actually that's probably the major role of whether you're an IT director or a CIO or anybody in a leadership position in IT, is sorting out the hype from reality.
Yeah.
And actually it's very industry specific, it's very task specific, and you have to know your niche area that you can say, will this actually be usable for us, perhaps in a way that it wasn't even intended to be used, or not. And saying no to new ideas, new technologies is as important a question as to saying yes, I'm making a mistake.
Yes.
In fact, in many cases, it's more beneficial because you don't invest in it and waste your time.